Now, the damage to the environment caused by HS2 has long been a concern for campaigners, and today a major new report claimed it might be up to 8 times worse than has been previously claimed.
A year-long study by the Wildlife Trust found what it called fundamental flaws in the way HS2 Ltd had calculated the impact of its work. Our environment correspondent Charlotte Cross spent the day in Warwickshire, where work has been going on now for years. Charlotte, how serious are these claims by the Wildlife Trust?
Steve, it's incredibly serious. It essentially confirms the worst fears of environmental campaigners. Now, you should still be able to see behind me some of the HS2 works taking place at South Covington Woods in Warwickshire. You might remember a few years ago, protesters climbed up into those trees and set up camp, trying to protect the trees from being cut down. Now, we can show you some of the images that our drone operator was able to get at that time. We are showing you images taken in October 2019. Now, for comparison, we can also show you what our drone could see today, and you can see just how much the works have expanded here. And the report from the Wildlife Trust says works like these are causing significantly more damage than has previously been claimed. It says it has analysed HS2's own data and found that the construction of Phase 1, which of course runs from London to Birmingham, will leave at least 17% less nature behind. That's compared to just 2.6% less, it says, was predicted by HS2 itself. Meanwhile, in Phase 2A, that's between the West Midlands and Crewe, the planned line there, the report says the line will result in a 42% nature loss compared to the 17% predicted by HS2. Now, the Wildlife Trust's claim this huge difference is in part because HS2 has, it says, undervalued the existing natural resources such as hedgerows and overestimated the value of its own compensation schemes, such as some of the tree planting projects we've seen around the area. Now, earlier on I spoke to the Chief Executive of Warwickshire Wildlife Trust to get his reaction.
We're quite astonished. We're astonished that the biggest engineering project in UK history can use a method that is so flawed and so full of errors. HS2 is already an enormous barrier to wildlife. It's cutting woodlands in half, it's destroying meadows, it's wrecking ponds. And what we found is that the measures that are being put in place that HS2 are claiming are going to make things better or even not make anything worse are so widely off track that it's going to be really quite devastating.
So, Charlotte, the Wildlife Trust clearly not happy. What about bosses at HS2? What have they said in response to these accusations?
Well, Sam, we put the accusations to HS2 today, and in response, a spokesperson said, "We don't recognise the figures from the report, nor do we believe them to be reliable. The Wildlife Trusts have taken limited desk research and have not accessed huge areas of land for undertaking ecological survey, in contrast to the ecologists who have compiled HS2's data." Now, the Wildlife Trusts say this is simply an example of HS2 being able to mark its own homework, and they say that the government needs to pause the project entirely while further investigations are carried out. Now, we did speak earlier on to the Department for Transport to ask whether that's something that ministers will be looking into, and they said that we need to speak to HS2 to ask about that, which perhaps doesn't exactly disprove their point.